Back at it today with another video, as today we're going to be looking at baseball's 5 most surprising teams so far this season. Real quick before we get into the video, I want to let you guys know that we're talking about good and bad surprises today. I know the thumbnail may suggest that we're only looking at disappointing teams, but we're also looking at teams who are exceeding expectations as well, and also we're not going to be doing these in any order, so just naming off 5 teams today. So with that in mind, let's get right into the video. First team of today's video is the Tampa Bay Rays. Now for this one, I feel like I'm going to get some pushback because people are going to be saying, hey, I know the Tampa Bay Rays, they are going to be good, but no one was expecting a 16-3 start. They did win 86 games last year in a very, very competitive division with lots of injuries, so they are due to be better than last year's record, but I don't think anyone was expecting them to be this good. They did have a very, very easy schedule early on, and once they did face the Toronto Blue Jays, they did lose 2 of the 3 games that they played against them, but still, their start has been extremely impressive. Their pitching staff may very well be the best in baseball, and they're not even fully healthy, and offensively, they have been very good to start out the year. Wander Franco is looking like the prospect he was promised to be a couple years back, and he's finally breaking out, and other players like Brandon Lowe, Yandy Diaz, and Josh Lowe are all showing up and playing big for the Rays. Moving on to the next surprising team, I have the Houston Astros. The Astros aren't like the Rays. Instead of being good, they have been surprisingly bad. Coming into the season, many people, including myself, had the Astros as heavy favorites in the AL West. It is really early and things can and will most likely change in that division, but to say the Astros were going to start 9-10, I think that's something that a lot of people would not have seen coming. Jose Altuve getting hurt in the WBC was definitely something that was expected to hurt the Astros a bit to start out the year, but not this much. And I don't really think it's solely because of Altuve. Yes, they miss him, but their bullpen has been very unreliable. Ryan Pressly has been uncharacteristically bad to start out the year. But outside of the few injuries and the poor bullpen play so far, the Astros really haven't been that bad. I mean, all in all, they're not that bad. They're only 9-10, but for the Astros, obviously they have huge expectations, but still, players like Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez have been playing up to par, so I think things will even out eventually, and they're going to be back towards the top of the division very soon. For the next surprising team, we have a good story here in the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates may very well be the most surprising team so far this year. Last year, they lost 100 games, and so far they're off to a 12-7 start. Some people across the league were saying that the Pirates were going to take a step forward this year, but not to this extent. If they keep this up, they're most likely going to be in the postseason. They've gotten some great starting pitching from Johan Oviedo and Mitch Keller, and in the bullpen, David Bednar has arguably been the best closer in baseball. Andrew McCutchen looks like the Andrew McCutchen of old, and Brian Reynolds looks like one of the best hitters in baseball, and all in all, this team is not only one of the most surprising teams so far, but they're one of the most exciting. Even without one of their best players in O'Neal Cruz, the Pirates have continued to stay hot, and I really hope they do keep it up throughout the season because the Pirates haven't been good in a very long time, and I think the fan base deserves a good baseball team. Moving on to the next team, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. So far, the Cardinals have been one of baseball's most disappointing teams as they've started out the year at 8-11, and they are coming off a season in which they won the National League Central, winning 93 games. Now, with most teams across the league, records up to this point, you can take them with a grain of salt because obviously we're still very early into the season, but the Cardinals are one of the few teams that I'm actually pretty worried about. Their starting pitching has been really bad, and even if Adam Wainwright does come back, I don't think he's going to completely turn this rotation around. Their offense, on the other hand, has been pretty good. Players like Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Nolan Gorman, and Jordan Walker have all been playing pretty well so far, so offensively, I don't think you have too much to worry about on this team, but with their pitching, I'm just not too confident in it. So even as good as this team is offensively and in their bullpen, their starting rotation is pretty weak, and I think they have a legit chance to be one of the worst starting rotations in baseball, which I think will drag them down a ton. And moving on to the final surprising team, I have the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers, like usual, are coming off a very good season where they won 111 games. But so far, they have been very underwhelming as they're playing sub-500 baseball as they're currently 9-10. So far, the Dodgers' offensive stars have been playing good, but not great. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman definitely aren't playing bad, but they're not playing like we are used to seeing them play. But players like Will Smith and Max Muncy have been picking up the slack. They've been all around some of the best offensive players in baseball so far, so offensively, I don't think there's too much to worry about with the Dodgers. Now for their pitching, their top-level arms in Clayton Kershaw, Julio Urias, and even Dustin May have all been pitching well to start out the year. But one thing that really makes me believe that the Dodgers are going to turn the tides eventually is their run differential. They have a plus 19 differential up to this point, and I think as time goes on, things will even out. So as surprisingly bad as the Dodgers have been up to this point, I think things will even out and they'll get much better. Real quick, before we wrap the video up, we have 2 honorable mentions in the Milwaukee Brewers and the Philadelphia Phillies. But anyways, that's going to wrap today's video up. Let me know what you guys think down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.